just for the benefit of many of you, I came to RIT 35 years ago as a student to do my master's and to research, do research in the area of automation and computer integrated manufacturing. You can imagine 37 years ago itself, RIT was looking at some of those kinds of things, and that's the trend that we have maintained. And some of the research that I worked on within a matter of 6 months was implemented in industry. And that's the beauty of RIT and the uniqueness of RIT in our education and also in our research. So education is very much aligned with industry because we have Industry Advisory Council for every program, not just RIT as a whole. Every program, undergraduate program and graduate program, is linked to industry by having an Industrial Advisory Council. And on top of that, most of our research is applied research. So anytime we come up with a solution, within a short period of time, it gets implemented in industry. So the students are basically working on relevant problems that they find employment or they find research opportunities right away.
How has RIT India chapter evolved over the years, and what are the key takeaways of GQS, GSQ 2026?
Can you repeat the beginning of the question? I'm sorry,
Yes.
I didn't catch it.
How has RIT India chapter evolved over the years?
How has it evolved? Well, how it's evolved is we have an on-ground recruitment team that we put in place approximately 2 years ago. We have dedicated people to recruit the students. This is the next level, right? We're showcasing the strength of our institution through experiential learning. I think it's important to highlight that we are a 200-year-old institution. The president is new. He was the dean of engineering at Carnegie Mellon, and part of what he is focused on is global in all forms, not just study away, not just, it's how do we interact as campuses, right? And you heard Beth mention Dubai, Kosovo, and Croatia as campuses. Also, the experiential component, we're number 5 in co-op in the nation for RIT Rochester, and that helps us stand out. It helps our students to get jobs, right? So they're doing their co-ops, they're doing undergraduate research like Dean Ram said, so that they can get the appropriate exposure while they're with us and prepare for what might be next, whether that is OPT in the United States with a STEM designation, which gets them the 3 years, or whether that's to come home and to work.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Jata here from News Plus News. So India has the largest youth population, so this has a big market. But at the same time, Indian youth and their parents, they have this attitude of like medical and engineering mostly.
Yes.
They don't want to go for the research. So what are your plans or strategies to make them aware of these kind of roles available for them?
Yes, so, RIT is a STEM institution. We have 9 schools, inclusive of engineering technology, a college of science, liberal arts. We also have a college of art and design, and there are many others to get to the 9 total. But what we find with students in India, you're absolutely correct to call out the interest in the health and the interest in engineering. We are finding, though, that students come to us and they want the flexibility of a comprehensive university, which is what we have. And I forgot to say we have a School of Allied Health. We have a brand new dean in that school. And so it's important to say that a student can choose their path and their grouping of experiences in order to achieve the outcome that they and their family are looking for.
Yeah, that will be a great initiative.
I wanted to how there's a lot of USC changing visas, conditions and all. So how it is accessible for Indian students easily, especially at a undergraduate level?
Yes. You want to hit that one? Are you up for that?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously been challenges with visas, but we're working with like each student, each family individually. We're working to coach them through the process, getting their visa documents in order. We've actually put together processes to make sure that we're addressing these kind of concerns right away, moving through these processes. I mean, India's a great place. We know students are great, so we're investing a lot of time and energy into doing so.
In addition to the coaching and guiding that we're doing, we developed a global pathway to our Dubai campus where students who apply to Rochester, if they are having trouble with their visa process or if they're having trouble with affordability, can go to our Dubai campus as a starting point and then come to Rochester proper. Our Dubai campus offers US-based degrees. They are Middle States accredited, so it's not like something that just popped up overnight. It was a key long-term plan, and we are heavily connected to the government meant to make that happen.
Ma'am, how does Global Scholar Quest help students to prepare for global academic opportunities?
I'll take a shot and then pass it to Beth. The real world problem solving is the preparation, right? And it gives them a safe environment to learn, a safe environment to try new things, a safe environment to perhaps reframe how they're thinking about a problem. And it's not a space where they must get the A.
Can you please throw some light on the global pathway to Dubai?
Yes.
Sure. I think I'll talk about that. I think what we were looking at is another opportunity to connect students to how global RIT is, right? So it's not just the Rochester campus. And as Kathleen mentioned, our Dubai campus was a great opportunity because many of the programs are alike and similar, still share the same values of experiential learning. It's a growing campus. We know for families it's not just the visa challenges, but perhaps just the geographic proximity and making it a little bit more opportunistic for the students to get started there and then be able to have the opportunity to come to the Rochester campus. So Global Pathways was formed in 2025. We had at that time about 14, 15 students who ended up starting at the Dubai campus and now are preparing to come to Rochester. And this year we have about 25, 26 students who are going to be starting in Dubai and then hopefully will make their way to the Rochester
And those
campus.
numbers are just the ones who had applied to the Rochester campus and needed to start someplace else. Our recruitment team from Dubai recruits Indian students to the Dubai campus, and it's doing that in a great way. They actually were here with us for the IC3 conference that was earlier this week. Something to highlight, our Dubai campus was founded in 2008 in partnership with the Dubai government. It sits in Silicon Oasis neighborhood, and it offers grad and undergrad engineering, computing, business, project management, design, and as I said, they're all Middle States accredited programs.
So,
What were the-
what is we have already seen that RIT is already having a long-term vision. So how do you see the commitments in terms of 10 years down the line? And there are a lot of changes happening in terms of projects, AI, all things are getting updated in terms of technology also. So how do you see this 10 years down the line?
Dean Ram.
Yeah.
This is for you.
So one of the things that expectations of faculty is not just teaching but research as well. So in order to be successful with research, they need to keep up with the technological advances and all the up and coming technologies and research areas. So that's the only way they can sustain their research with funding and all of that. So that's an important component of our faculty hiring process. And not only that, RIT emphasizes what is called experiential learning. One component of experiential learning is the co-op, where the student gets the opportunity to go to industry in the middle of their education, like they finish 3 years, go for 6 months, get the experience, come back, finish their degree, and then they can go into industry. And also in addition to that co-op, faculty are expected to bring their research into the classroom and talk about it. So that's another aspect of the teaching that we do. So whatever they are advancing in their research, they are bringing it into the classroom and incorporating it as part of the coursework. And also undergraduate students and graduate students get hired as research assistants. So they get to work on the latest and greatest topics. So as the faculty continue to upgrade themselves and also keep up to date with the research and all of that, the students are advancing, our curriculum is advancing, and all of our IT is advancing. So this is one of the reasons RIT has one of the highest outcomes rate we call. What is outcomes? Students either get into a PhD program or they find a job right before graduation and all of that. As RIT as a whole, it's around 93%, but there are programs like in our college which are 98, 99%. That means 99% of our students get into industry or find a PhD program even before they graduate. So that's one of the uniqueness of RIT in terms of how we make sure that our students are successful and they get what they desire.
And I'd like to add, you asked about RIT preparing for the future. One of the things that we're always thinking is not only future-ready skills for our students through things like research and experiential learning, but we're also looking at our academic offerings. Industry around the world is always changing. Problems are always looking for new global solutions. So a great example of that is how we've embraced AI. We've just launched our first Bachelor of Science in AI. Our first cohort will start this fall. We've had a master's in artificial intelligence for prior to the Bachelor being launched. And RIT is very proud of our AI Institute and how we're integrating AI throughout all of our curriculums for all of our students to understand how it's useful, how it can be used in various disciplines and professions, but also how it can be used ethically. And I think, Rami,
Right.
you've seen this probably a little bit more firsthand.
Yeah, I can add to what Beth indicated. So we are establishing an AI institute, so there's going to be investment in that. We are also going to be investing in a Health X. So all the colleges will participate in these institutes that we are making investments in. And not only that, apart from standalone AI degrees, most of our faculty, their research involves AI and machine learning. So whatever courses they teach, they are bringing the domain-specific AI knowledge that is needed for the students to be successful in those areas. So that's how we make sure that all of the latest and greatest things are being incorporated.
So as you're offering IIT hands-on experience of the industry before graduation, so what was the idea behind it? And is it paid internship or?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's a paid internship. So let me explain to you what that is. It's not a new concept. RIT's uniqueness and brand itself is the co-op that has happened over the many years that we have existed. And what is co-op? Basically, students finish 2.5 years of their education and then they go into industry. They can work for 40 hours. And then during that time they get paid, and as they get paid they can save up and they are able to use it towards living expenses or further tuition. It's not restricted to American students only, international students can do the same thing as well because that's part of the degree requirement. So because it's part of the degree requirement, their visa allows them to do those things. So that's how we distinguish
And
ourselves.
co-op is not just done in the United States. Co-op can be done anywhere in the world. And
Exactly.
we partner, I mean, gosh, the number is probably 2,000 plus global employers from more local, regional industry to multinational corporations. So yes, students can come back to India as part of their co-op or experiential learning. My favorite tagline is co-op is part of our experiential pillar, but it's our cornerstone. So we also have students who do internships. We've talked about research at the undergraduate level, which is not common. Most often universities of our nature and STEM institutions reserve research opportunities, but we have some of the best, research labs and institutes
Right.
at RIT in interdisciplinary as
Right.
well.
And because we provide applied education, most of our courses, if you find, will have lab component. So the students, even at the undergraduate and graduate level, will have labs with each of the courses that they are taking in the technical field. So they get the preliminary experience there. And also if the experiential learning is through research, it has to be a paid experience. So students benefit from that.
Sir, can you throw some light on your India investments and about the long-term strategy for India education ecosystem?
Kathleen?
Yeah. For India, as I said previously, We have a recruitment team that is here. That was intentional because we saw it as a large country that was sending volumes of students, even in our current space, to the United States. We wanted to be with the students and their families. As simple as being able to call them at a time that's appropriate, as opposed to trying to navigate the market from the US to India. So we are committed to India as our largest market. That is why we're doing global scholars here, and also why we have the recruitment team.
Ma'am, I have a question on same topic. Do we have any universities in India where you have tie-ups where part of the course can be done in India and the remaining part can be completed? And also for the students who have already completed specific courses, can they just do a refresher course or something where they can qualify?
It is possible for students to apply in the undergraduate space as transfer students if they have already taken university courses. We assess them for those classes and determine what applies. In addition, we are exploring partnerships and what those might look like. Dean Ram, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, definitely. A major portion of my visit this time is not only this event, but I've been visiting several universities in a couple of cities. And the main purpose of that is to identify areas and see if we can establish MOUs. And establishing MOUs is not new to RIT. We have done that over many, many years. And just to give you an example, VIT is an excellent MOU partner for us, and we have worked with them, and we established 3+1 programs, 3+2, which allows students to finish 3 years and then come there and finish their bachelor's and master's. So all these kinds of opportunities we are constantly establishing and exploring.
And for the students to get into RIT, what is the qualification that they should work on, and the expertise, they should learn something and prepare themselves? And then what is your expectation from the students, that this is minimum things that they must know, they must qualify? What do they need to qualify?
Would you like me to start?
Yeah,
And then you
please,
can
go
talk
ahead.
about
I
the
can-
in-classroom.
I
Yeah.
can do that, and also I can talk about the graduate
Perfect.
thing from.
Very briefly and holistically for an undergrad student population, we're looking for a holistic representation. I looked at my colleague Dan. We're looking for students who are well prepared for college, university level studies, so obviously the math sciences, but we also look for other areas of excellence. We are test optional when it comes to SAT, ACTs, which I'm sure many U.S. institutions have that policy. We also look for non-academic qualities. So again, mirrored in what we're seeing in the scholars today, their creativity, ingenuity, what they're interested in passions, and then being able to really demonstrate how excited they are to bring that passion for learning to RIT, which I think in the classroom shows itself quite well, right?
Yeah, right off the bat, they're going to be challenged.
So I just want to understand that because RIT is having a global presence, so what is the percentage of Indian students in RIT?
So this year's class is still being settled. Historically, we've had about 600 students join RIT each year. It's about 10% of our international student population.
So you were saying,
Let me go back to respond, finishing the thing. So they're going to be challenged right from day one, and it's not an easy environment, so they need to be prepared for that. So some of the students, if they assume that they can relax for 6 months and then get started, it's not going to work. So we want the students who are very committed and who have good study skills, and we still provide good support mechanisms, but they need to come prepared for what they're going to get into. Let me pivot a little bit towards the graduate level. The graduate level, we are expecting good standing in their undergraduate academic standing here. We are looking for first class with distinction or first class students. Sometimes students fail along the way, and that may not be something that's conducive. But if they show some really good progression from the first year to the final year, then that's appreciated. I wouldn't say extracurricular, co-curricular activities. Apart from their education, what have they done? That's an important aspect. We also look for TOEFL as an exam, IELTS now we call it. We don't ask for, many of our programs don't ask for GRE. There is a requirement for a statement of purpose. One of the things that I always tell students is don't write 3 or 4 pages, because as a committee, when we are evaluating so many applications, 3 or 4 pages is not going to be something that we'll have the time to read and all that. 1 page that in a succinct manner tells us why you're applying to RIT, why is your interest in that field, and what you're trying to get out of it, and how can you support our faculty when you come there. And of course, recommendation letters from faculty. 37 years ago when I went to RIT, it's only because my professor here at PSG College of Technology, where I graduated from, had a friend at RIT who had won a grant, and he had asked for a student, and my professor from PSG recommended my name. And that's how I basically ended there with a full scholarship, right? So that kind of relationship is always important. So we try to create those relationships. So recommendation from faculty that can talk to the student is going to be very critical as well.
Which helps us make those partnerships with universities here in India for those recommendations.
That's correct.
Would you agree, Dr. Ram? Yeah. We only have about, 5 more minutes, so I wanted to see if there are any final questions about today's very exciting, very
What are the
exciting.
criteria for selecting the finalists?
I'm sorry.
What are the key criteria used to select the finalists for grand
Oh,
finale?
well, we're not yet fully going to be releasing that, but again, we're going to be looking at their process, what they're bringing today. I think the students have, total of 5 minutes to make their pitch to us. So in that 5 minutes, how well they're presenting their problem, walking us through how they came to solutions. I think ingenuity and creativity in the problem that they're presenting.
Their thought process.
Their
as a
thought
team.
process, right, of course, and then, of course,
The ability to work as a team, which is going to be very important,
all of
right?
these
So
things,
all
right?
of these things are good. So like she said, it's not the right answer. It's basically how they came together as a team, how they looked at the problem, how did they evaluate it and consider all the different solutions, and how did they present themselves here. So
And
those
so
are
What
One
one
final-
message would you like to give to Indian students?
Come back again.
What one message would you like to give to Indian students for this grand finale?
What's one message?
One message, I think that that's important to highlight, that the U.S. still welcomes global student populations in the United States. As a STEM institution that is 200 years old, we have a long-standing reputation. We have appropriate corporate partners. In addition, we have affordability support for students and their families. In the grad space, that's variable by program. In the undergrad space, that's merit scholarships. So it is an affordable option. It is, students have the chance to still come, even though items feel very fluid at the moment.
And US is still the
Sir,
land
can
of
you draw a line?
opportunities. US is still the land of opportunities. I can tell you that.
So
Even
speaking of opportunities, one last question.
Sorry.
After the completion of the course, what can the student look forward to in his career path? What are the outcomes?
So even before they graduate, because they are coming to RIT, which is an applied environment, and we have so much industry interaction, even before they graduate, they can look forward to either being placed successfully or entering into a successful PhD program to pursue their passion, either in industry or in a research institution. I think this gentleman had the last question, so.
I was having similar question only. The outcomes of the graduate student at RIT, what is it, since experience?
Yeah, many of the programs are close to 100%. Because graduate is so focused and the areas are applied areas, most of our graduate degrees, very relevant to industry. And any of the research programs, very relevant to any future research that they want to pursue for a PhD or any of those kinds of things.
We would also like to hear from Mr. Dan, his area of interest in RIT.
Sure. So I work on the global strategy team, and one of the things that I do is interacting with students around the world. specifically now, I'm in India because we do have a very strong interest in Indian students and bringing them to RIT. There's so many students that we do try to interact with, and we're putting a lot more energy in.
And this is a very good initiative, which I must say. And just I wanted you to elaborate a little more so that we can get content to write on.
Sure, if I can just recap and make sure I understand your questions. Again, why India as our relationship here? We have been a great relationship with India. We have actually, India is one of our largest markets of bringing students to our campus in Rochester, but also we have strong relationships with our other campuses around the world. We have a campus in Dubai, campus in Croatia, campus and location in Kosovo. Again, why coming to India and where we want to do this? First of all, we already know how strong the students' innovation creativity is here based on what we've seen in their applying to RIT in the past. And we wanted to take this into a deeper level. We knew that the students here would be willing to accept the challenge. And again, having strong partners here, having school relationships that we've had historically was a good way for us to test this as an opportunity. We've learned a lot, all good things in this process. But we also knew that the students would make us all proud, make you proud, make India proud, make their schools proud.
And how's GSQ different from the other problem-solving like Olympiads and?
As we mentioned, this is not just about the right answers. I think sometimes academic class or those types of things are always looking for competition for who's going to come fastest to the right answer. This was about a competition for students to showcase their talents, using their passions, using their interests, and be able to have fun while they're doing this.
And when you get this kind of information from the students, how different it is in India, and what are there any learnings that you get so that you can redefine your
Dean Ram, I think I'm going to
course
toss that
content
one to
and
you.
your
Yeah.
level of training, the new generation, the Gen Z and other things. So the world is constantly changing.
Yeah, as Red Sullivan indicated, this is not looking for the right answer,
Exactly.
but we are looking for the critical thinking, creativity and innovation. So looking at the teams that participated and what they came up with, we were able to closely relate it to some of the research that our faculty are already working on. So even though we didn't specify any topic or any particular thing, the students are already thinking about things that many of our faculty are already working on. And
Introduce yourself and then speak about this event
Sure.
and then the company.
Sure.
What is it for Indian students?
Sure.
Period.
My name is Elizabeth Sullivan. I'm the Associate Vice President for Enrollment Marketing and Global Strategic Initiatives. And I represent Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, USA. But we also representing our colleagues on campuses at RIT Dubai, RIT Croatia, and RIT Kosovo. So we're here today in India. We started our week participating in IC3, so we're able to connect and collaborate with our higher ed partners who are also interested in talking about global higher education. And we're really also here for Global Scholar Quest, which is our inaugural first competition for students where we're able to invite students into a multi-level competition. It was a 4-level innovation program, not a competition because we really are not looking for students to figure out the right answer, but we're challenging students to use their skills, their teamwork, their passions on global problems and looking for global solutions. And so this was structured as a progressive academic pathway for us to be able to understand students. And because of our long relationship with students from India, both in the undergraduate and graduate level, we knew this would be the place that we wanted to kick this off and try the first Global Scholars Quest. And I guarantee we hope to have this in many other areas and even returning to India in the future.
Now you got a good response from Indian students. How is the response? And
We had, we started about 4 months ago, and usually something like this takes a little bit longer to plan for, but we're very excited by the response from the students that we did receive. We had about 200 students in level 1, and through each of the process and the levels that they got to demonstrate and show their talents and keep progressing through. We're now here today at the finale, which is so exciting, with 14 teams. With areas and topics from all different areas, science, technology, sustainability, healthcare. So it really has been a remarkable process for the students, and we are quite frankly very excited to hear and listen to the students and have them share their stories with us.
thank you, ma'am.
Is there any selection criteria for RIT?
Selection criteria.
For the Global Scholars Quest, throughout the whole process, the rubric was based on how they presented themselves. There was in the first level how to go through some exams and questions. Sorry about that. Having to go through some exam questions and being able to answer basic questions. Each step of the way really upped the stakes for students to be able to make it to this level. And today we are going to be evaluating the students based on their teamwork, their response, their ability to share their information about their project, and then be able to respond to a couple of minutes of questions from the jury today.
And once again, congratulations and wishing you for bringing Indian students at a greater height.
Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who's been part of this process, and to thank you to all the educators who've been our partners in helping the students find their way to Global Scholar Quest here in Mumbai. We're very excited to continue having conversations with future RIT students. So thank you, everyone.
Chalo, ma'am.
Thank
All
you
the
and
best.
all the best.